One evening, BoCo was bidding a farewell to his driver. His driver gave BoCo good runs, but now he was in retirement. BoCo sighed sadly. He didn't want to lose his driver, but knew he couldn't drive him forever at this age. "You know, driver," he said, "even though you have to go, at least it won't drive away the memories we had together." His driver chuckled. "Oh, you're not wrong about that. Farewell, BoCo." And with one final wave, he walked into the sunset. Sir Topham, meanwhile, had other plans for BoCo. The next day, Percy was at the station when a man came running up to his footplate. "Are you lost, sir?" asked the driver and fireman. "Like I have a map," shivered the man. "I'm looking for an engine called BoCo. Your controller said it was green. Would this be BoCo?" Percy chuckled. "Excuse me, sir," he said, "but I already have a driver. If you're looking for BoCo, he's right by my left." The man looked to his right and frowned. There was BoCo with a sleepy eye. The man thanked Percy and walked towards the sheds. BoCo was very surprised to see the man walking straight toward him. "Oh, hello there," he said. "You must be my new driver, I see." "Yes, that's right," sighed the man. "What's wrong?" asked BoCo. "Oh, nothing," stammered the driver. "Let's just get to work." Soon as his engine was started, BoCo veered out of the yards. His driver, however, was very nervous. He had only driven steam engines and never knew how to work on diesels. "Don't back out so soon," he thought to himself. When they had collected their train, the driver had trouble getting started. But with BoCo's words, they were able to be on their way. They were soon cruising along the main line at top speed. But BoCo's new driver was acting very stubborn. He thought he could do everything without being told what to do by his engine. He was so busy being proud, he forgot to pay attention to the signals and the points. BoCo didn't realize till too late that he was sent to the line that ran to the docks. Now BoCo was very worried. "Driver, we're on the wrong line," he shouted, but his driver only laughed. "That good run is getting up in your radiator," he joked. But they were soon heading for trouble. At the docks, Thomas was shunting some oil tankers into a siding. "Careful not to leak, careful not to leak," he panted. But then he saw BoCo fast approaching on the other direction. "Cinders and ashes," cried Thomas. "Stop!" "Whoa!" cried BoCo and his driver. With brakes screeching, BoCo banged into the tankers, and the oil poured out all over the rails. "Grease and oil," muttered BoCo. "I was expecting for a close call." Soon the mess had been cleared, but Thomas was cross. "BoCo," he said, "why did you come so fast?" "Oh, it's my fault," sighed the driver bashfully, and he explained what had happened. Well, chuckled Thomas. "This isn't the first time a driver had been rightfully scolded instead of us engines." As punishment for his actions, the driver and BoCo had to take the damaged tankers away. "Yeah, that's right," huffed Cranky. "Take those hazardous tankers with you, and make sure you know where you're going next time." Thankfully, BoCo didn't hear it. Meanwhile, Donald was coming down the opposite direction with a train of china clay. Since Bill and Ben were at the works, he and Douglas had to take over. And Donald was not happy about that. He was nor happy when he reached the hill. The trucks, unsurprisingly, decided to play their old dirty tricks. "Och, no you don't," he shouted. "Full steam," he called to his driver. And at last, he made it over the hill. But the trouble wasn't over yet. As the cars cackled, using their buffers, they pushed Donald down the hill. Donald was in shock and tried to hold them back. "Brakes locked on now," he cried. Thinking quickly, his driver threw the brakes hard on. But of course, the weight of the cars wasn't helping either. "It's no good," cried his driver. What's worse, we're running low on steam." Donald was desperate and fought the cars as hard as he could. "Could things get any worse?" he cried. But then he looked on and saw BoCo coming in the opposite direction. Thinking quickly, Donald blew his whistle loudly. BoCo heard the whistle and knew that it could only mean danger. He could see Donald ahead. In between them was an old siding used for stopping runaway cars. "Driver," he called, "accelerate." "Huh? Why?" he asked. "Quickly, now," replied BoCo. So the driver did. They raced along the line until they reached the old siding, and BoCo veered into it. Just as Donald came into view, and as soon as he closed in, the van cleared just in time for Donald to miss. BoCo and his driver were relieved. "Phew," sighed BoCo. "Now that's the close call I've been looking for." His driver was too shaken to respond. Later that evening, BoCo and his driver were returning home. They were suddenly surprised to see Donald and Sir Tom Hat waiting for them. The driver stepped out of the cab. "Is this about your predicament at the docks?" interrupted Sir Tom Hat. "I'll talk to you about that later. But for now, I commend you both for your brave actions to prevent a very nasty accident." "Aye, you were very brave," agreed Donald. "Although next time, I'd be taking Douglas with me." BoCo and his driver chuckled, then turned to each other. "Sorry for not listening to you earlier. In future, I promise to do so." BoCo really hoped he would.